Federal government approves $1.9 billion rail line to Nigerian Republic. NNPC seeks review of Local Content Act. Nigeria auction bonds at lower yields after surprise raise cuts. This is Business Express reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Leakatung Babatunde, your guide. The federal government has approved $1.9 billion for the construction of a rail line that will link Nigeria to Niger Republic. The approval was given at the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. The Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, told State House correspondents that the sum approved for the development of the proposed rail line linking Kano, Dutse, Katsina, Jibia, and to Maradi in Niger Republic is inclusive of value-added tax.
Accident on the track, and it's for a total cost of 3,049,544,000 naira.
12.08 billion naira has also been approved for the construction of a 45-kilometer section 2 of the Umuahia, Bende Ohafia Arochukwu Highway to complement section 1 awarded in 2018.
With this award now, the entire length of the road is now under contract to the same contractor, and we hope for expeditious execution.
COVID-19 has come along with a great deal of concerns in what we term the new global normal, as everyone has had to make adjustments. The bulk of market spaces have now shrunk into virtual spaces, changing some jobs forever in a society where it is believed one can only be successful at the age of 40 and above. Now, Heinrich Abankole Akomolafe made the Forbes list of 30 under 30 at 26. The entrepreneur owns one of the leading elevator manufacturing companies for high-rise buildings in Nigeria, competing on the global stage. Akomolafe will be sharing his thoughts on how entrepreneurs like him are paddling the economic storm. Heinrich, you're welcome to Business Express this morning.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here.
Okay.
Thank you.
So tell us really your activities now that most activities are being conducted remotely. Okay. How has it been out there for you with COVID-19?
Partially, my company, which is Acotex Elevator Company, is a very innovative company. And we've been, because we have a lot of remote areas where we have our elevators, and we've been thinking before COVID, how can we initiate a strategy integrating technology? So we introduced a smart controller where I can be in my office and monitor all the elevators we have presently in Nigeria, because we have elevators in Maiduguri, in Kano, in Lagos, and how can we monitor the system? So we have a system integrating IT technology into our controllers, so it's made everything much more easy.
Now, your story is one that somehow resonates with most Nigerians, because you delved into the business space when Nigeria was in recession in 2016, and now we're facing another recession. Can you just maybe speak to us on the scenarios?
Per se, you know, then was just a recession. Now we have COVID-19, which recession was just being only to Nigerians at that point. But now it's global. It's affecting it's affecting all other countries around the globe. And per se, what we do is we import elevators from other countries, and our lead time of manufacturing importations was 3 months. Now we have 7 months, 8 months just to bring one elevator into Nigeria. So it has been a very, very difficult situation for elevator companies in Nigeria. And how we've tried to strive into the business per se in this difficult time is really extremely very difficult, but we're trying to reduce processes, trying to start manufacturing local content.
I was
in
going
Nigeria.
to ask about that, yes.
In terms of about 60% or 80% of the equipment we use in elevators are ions and counterweights, which has to do with block. So we're trying to see how we can start manufacturing, sourcing these materials locally instead of improving the lead time of 8 to 7 months, because in our factory in Spain, before we could, even because there's a lot of backlogs, so it has affected the business generally everywhere. So the only way we could improve this process is through manufacturing. And we've been trying as much as possible to get to source land for us to start building our manufacturing plant. I think about last week I met with the Minister of, my chairman met with the Minister of FCT, and we had a long conversation on how we could start having a local content manufacturing plant in Nigeria, which is really, really very interesting.
Okay, so what did you find as the general effect for young people like you, and what will be the survival strategy for young entrepreneurs in a time like this?
You know, Nigeria is one of the most populous countries in the world, and SMEs are the major drivers in terms of any economy in the world, and about 80% of the workloads are young people, and those are the people that drives the economy. And I think the government needs to really work for us and put more focus on these young entrepreneurs, because the young entrepreneurs, yes, there are a lot of palliatives around for these young entrepreneurs to access funds, but they don't even have the right information. Most times we just see it online. I'm a young entrepreneur as well. We see all this information online, but the criteria are quite really very difficult to assess.
So what would be your thoughts on this funds that have been injected? The federal government on its own is doing quite a deal across ministries, departments and agencies. The central bank as well doing its own part with most of these institutions, the financial institutions. Now, do you see that helping?
Yeah.
And as you said, can you just break it down for us?
Okay.
Is it just about injecting funds now, or it has a whole lot more in the government?
Basically, I will talk about the industry area, which is the construction and engineering industry. I've worked with quite a lot of, because once people are not building, definitely there's no need for elevators. And when the federal government reduced the bond interest rates in security investment, there were a lot of inflows. People were now moving from saving their monies in the bank to go into constructions, which is a very good strategy as well. But when COVID-19 came in, it affected a lot of all these constructions and real estate industry. So it's not about just injecting funds, but injecting the funds in the right direction, creating a palliative for this real estate and construction industry. Because when the artisans, the plumbers, the bricklayers, the construction industry has one of the highest workforce in terms of this, in terms of the construction and the real estate industry. So it's not about just injecting funds, but injecting funds in the right direction. I think they should be, the federal government should make provisions, make palliative. It's not about giving money, but they should make, okay, there are a lot of lands, give developers free lands to develop houses, affordable houses. It's going to inject that funds indirectly to these artisans around the world, and it's going to boost the economy.
Okay, so did you now, as a company now, did you have a need to require funding locally?
Yeah, but for the past 6 years, I've been having interest to be one of the first manufacturing industry, elevator industry in Africa. I've been looking for land to start my partial manufacturing process in Nigeria for the past 6 years, and I've not been able to access neither the land, neither the funds.
So now, did you benefit from any of the COVID related funding
As at
packages?
now, I've not been able to benefit from any of this, but the FCT minister, when we met him last week, he made a lot of reasonable remark in regards of that, in terms of assessing lands for us, because once there's manufacturing development in Nigeria, the cost of buildings will reduce, will fall. Labor force will increase because people will start developing houses. The electricians, the plumbers, the bricklayers, and the rest of them will be able to access funds from all this.
Now, these are very trying times for businesses around the world at any size at all, small, big, and the medium ones.
Yeah.
If you would be speaking to young entrepreneurs like you about how to weather the storm that we found ourselves in now, what would you be telling them?
I would tell them not just to sit at home waiting for the federal government. They should put more effort. There are a lot of skills around. Like now, I'm looking for a lot of engineers because my backlog, because of the COVID-19, has increased. I can't access any elevator engineers around the country. I've been looking for. So all these young guys sitting down, waiting for federal government to come and pop. Federal government is not just going to put money on your table. So you need to have a required skills. Look for this labor force that suits your personality, and then strive towards it. Because nobody should give you money and say, okay, take this money. No, you need to work for this money. And how can you get this money is to expose yourself to a required skills and then utilize it. And then the funds will come in. I'm a young guy, I'll be 28 1st of October, and I'm doing a lot of things. I'm not just only in the elevator industry, I'm also in the construction industry. I'm even going into gas as well now.
Okay.
So that doesn't mean because I'm young, I should just sit down at home and then wait for the federal government. You need to start thinking. I know the future is in gas. I'm already creating a strategy for it.
Okay,
so
thank you.
A lot of young guys should focus on that as well.
Okay, thank you, Henry. We're going to stop this conversation from here, and we wish you well.
Thank you.
In all your endeavors.
Thank you so much.
Now, moving on, gold prices hit more than 2 months through on Thursday, weighed down by a robust dollar, with investors looking to U.S. jobless claim data due later in the day to further gauge the pace of a recovery in the world's largest economy. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has called for a review of the Local Content Act to reflect current realities in the oil and gas industry. It also advocated legislation addressing the funding constraints faced by local players. Group Managing Director NNPC Milikari, who stated this in a statement in Abuja, stressed the need for indigenous companies operating in the nation's oil and gas sector to upscale their capacity for global competitiveness. He added that this is crucial to achieving the target of reducing the cost of oil production in Nigeria on a sustainable basis. Meanwhile, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation says that between July 2019 and July 2020, Nigeria fled more gas than it supplied to its domestic industries, averaging about 600.38 million standard feet per day. In its July 2020 report on its operations, the NNPC explained that 490.21 million standard feet per day of gas was sent to industries on the average, making it less than the volume of gas fled. Similarly, the volume of gas fled was slightly lower than the average volume, 680 million standard feet per day, sent to power generating companies, GENCOs, for power production within the period. Nigeria sold bonds on Wednesday at yields lower than the secondary market, despite double-digit inflation. Auction results showed this is coming after an unexpected central bank interest rate cut aimed at stimulating the economy. The Debt Management Office paid 8.94% for the longest 30-year paper, while the bond fetched 9.7% on the secondary market. The maturity received most of the subscription at the auction. The DMO offered to sell 185 billion naira at the auction, but sold 106.15 billion naira worth of debt. The central bank on Tuesday cut interest rates by 100 basis points to 11.5% to support an economy that contracted in the second quarter. The dollar extended gains against most currencies on Thursday as signs of economic slowdown in Europe and the United States renewed concerns about a second wave of infections. Let's now see how the naira is exchanging for other international currencies. As economies brace up to meet up with the realities of emerging trends in information management and data collation, Nigeria is also towing same path as the Institute of Information Management and Nigerian National Accreditation System signed a Memorandum of Understanding on Information and Data Management for Economic Growth. Elizabeth Omori reports.
Synergy between the organizations will facilitate business strategies and implement processes for efficient information management, as well as build qualified professionals to help implement and interpret data for documentation and digitization of processes for various sectors of the economy.
Speaking to areas like training professionals, staffs of the government, ministries and agencies, training of even students on information management.
Promoting professionalism, standard certification in different organizations in Nigeria and across the globe.
As information remains one of the crucial components for development in critical sectors, they believe government must connect with the private sector on standardization of data and information to forestall some of the challenges confronting the nation.
Now, stocks opened in Nigeria this morning on a very flat note, even after the market closed yesterday with marginal gains of 0.5%. And away from home in Asia Pacific, stocks traded lower on Thursday morning following overnight declines on Wall Street. Boss Abel takes it from here.
Global market figures for 24th September resumed mixed as each continent is affected by various factors. Africa's stocks opened mixed in early trading, with South Africa's JSE Africa Top 40, Tunisia's Tunidex and Namibia's overall index resuming trade positive. Ghana's GSE Composite was marginally positive, while Nairobi's all shares started the day negative. European stocks withdrew Thursday as investors' hopes for economic recovery following the coronavirus pandemic falter amid a second wave of cases. In Asia, South Korean stocks dropped in Thursday trade as tensions on the Korean peninsula reignited. Other Asia Pacific markets also saw losses following an overnight drop on Wall Street. Hang Seng Index fell 1.84%, Shanghai Composite down 1.72%, and the Nikkei also fell 1.11%. Stocks in the United States as at this time of this report are yet to resume. Bossade Able, Business Express.
A UK-based development finance institution, CDC Group, has finalized plans to invest $425 million as aid to 100 businesses and 38,000 jobs in Nigeria. This is sequel to its partnership with 40 investment funds such as Afrexim Bank and African Capital Alliance. The UK government-funded organization stated that all earnings from its investments are plowed back to improve the lives of millions of people in Africa and South Asia. CDC Group noted that it paid a virtual visit to the Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Catriona Liang, to discuss and ascertain the impact of CDC's aid to its investees through the COVID-19 crisis and understand how to stimulate recovery and growth. This is where we end this edition of Business Express. We value your feedback, so keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. You can also communicate with us on Twitter. The handle is NTA News Now. Don't forget to use the hashtag, it is BizEx. Remember to intermittently wash your hands with soap under running water as the world battles COVID-19. Be safe out there. Business Express returns Friday at 3 p.m. I am Leah Katun Babatunde. Do enjoy the rest of the day.